I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. We're going to minimize, but we wanted you to see our faces and to say hello before we get started. I'm Stacy. Do you want to, maybe Ember, you can say, just we'll
Amber.
do formal introductions, but so they know our names with our faces.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Christina.
Yay. Okay, so let's share a little 80s list here. Okay. um, Overall, tonight's plan, we're going to have some formal introductions. You can learn a little bit about your hosts here. We're also going to talk about what is perimenopause and how is that different from, or what is an overlap of menopause, because I know that's been a question already asked. Hormonal burdens and regulating hormones will be discussed. We'll talk about protein, skeletal muscle, as well as supporting your body with additional nutrients like micronutrients instead of macronutrients. We'll give away some door prizes and do Q&A. That's a short list, but we've got a lot of information in here for you. So you will walk away having learned something for sure. Don't let it overwhelm you. We will actually be following up with this replay and sharing the slide deck with you. Don't feel like you need to sit here and take notes. We want you to be able to actually listen and absorb the information and engage in conversation. I'm Stacy Toth. I am uncomfortably, I hate to say, I'm a best-selling author and podcaster, but I am. I've been in this industry for 15 years, educating and learning, researching about different ways of wellness. And I have 4 teenagers, 19, 18, 16, and 14, who have aged me a couple of decades, I'm sure. And so my perimenopause symptoms actually started post-COVID in long haul a couple of years ago. The symptoms really overlapped there. We'll talk about some of those brain fog and weird symptoms, and how sometimes you might not even realize that they've started. So, Ember, you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry, yes, I was just jumping. There's something in the Q&A and it was distracting me. I'm very like, hence perimenopause, right? Yes, my name is Ember Ingebretson. You guys, I'm 44. I'm very similar to Stacy's story. I think I was confused about, is this long COVID symptoms or is this perimenopause? I don't really know. How do we tease that out? It's just the timing of my life and when it happened with me as well. So I've done a lot of different things to try to kind of, before even finding, some solutions, was just like, maybe I just need to do this detox or that detox, just going through all the things. And I found truly some great solutions with really just how I'm fueling my body and how I'm supplementing my body and how I'm moving my body that have been really helping me to actually thrive within the last 6 months, or probably even 4 to 5 months, versus the past 2 years. So excited to chat about that too. Maybe Christine.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Christina Blair. I am 50 and I have a hard time saying that. So, I think I, well, I've been having, I've recognized perimenopause symptoms the last 2 years, but as I learn more about it, I'm realizing that I probably had a lot more of them before. And even in the last 4 months, I would tried a new to me product and recognized some vast improvement to some pain I was having. And I had no idea it was even related to perimenopause. So I love learning and I love sharing. And yeah, I'm happy to be here and learn along with you guys tonight.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alicia Kleppinger. I'm 43, and similar to the other ladies here, my symptoms started about 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't realize at the time that that's what it was. And so I would say probably over the last like 18 months, they've really ramped up for me to the point where I was seeking out some ways to feel more comfortable and more confident with what was going on with my body. And so I'm really excited to talk about some of those tonight. I'm a very active person. So to Ember's point, I was trying to figure out like, what am I doing wrong? What should I be doing more of? And I think you'll find that we're going to talk about things that You have to come to like a real balance between what you've been doing and what you think you maybe should be doing, and be really, I think, more gentle with yourself in this time of life. So I'm really excited to talk about those things.
Sorry, I'm running the ship and unmuting and all of the things. So thanks for, obviously we're not spring chickens when it comes to tech. All right, so let's start at the beginning. What is perimenopause? If you are joining us and you are in the phases of your life, and this graph is generalized, it can really vary on an individual basis, but for the most part, perimenopause can start as early as 35, sometimes earlier, go to about 45, and then you start to transition really into menopause. Menopause is defined as not having a period for more than 12 months. So that can be a 1 year transition or it can be a 10-year transition. It really depends on you individually, and that's a lot genetic, but also lifestyle, which we'll talk about. And then you enter the phase of actually being postmenopausal, meaning you no longer have a period. And the symptoms that you experience in each phase and the solutions look a little bit different, but everything that we're going to talk about tonight is beneficial no matter what phase you're in. Even if you are in a fertile period of your life where you are still having like pregnancy, this is still going to work for you because we're talking about regulating hormones. We're talking about like optimizing your health, and all of those things benefit at all points. The difference varies just a little bit, especially as you get into postmenopausal, in that you're more prone to bone density issues and things like that that maybe you would want to support additionally. But for today, we're going to focus on the perimenopause part of it, which is that age between, for most people, 35 and 55 in terms of that transition to full menopause. Anything y'all want to add to that? No. Okay, I would love to know, Christina, you mentioned this in your introduction. What are some of the symptoms that you started experiencing when you noticed you were in menopause? There's 16 listed here, but each of us has kind of our own experience with different symptoms that we had.
Well, so the first one, joint pain, I had no idea that that was connected to perimenopause. And of course it makes sense, but I just didn't think about it. I thought, I'm in the car a lot. Um, so, and my routine, my exercise routine had changed. So I thought, well, my joints are hurting because I'm doing too much. And then I was in a period where I wasn't doing enough. Let's see. Do you want me to speak to some of the others, or do you
No, I think that's great. Ember,
share?
did you have, yeah, no, Ember, did you have like one or two big ones?
Yep. I was just going to tag on to Christina as a physical therapist who treats women of all ages. But, back in when I was in the heyday, when I was working full time, I saw so many women, you guys, with frozen shoulders and things in this season of life. And we did not know even then, like we didn't know, 15 years ago that was related to likely more hormonal than just like musculoskeletal tissue, changes randomly. So there's a lot of things that can happen specific to joint pain from a PT perspective that we now know are hormonal changes that are at the root of it all. I would definitely say, the not feeling like myself, which we're going to talk about in a little bit here, and someone in the Q&A, someone put in the Q&A, like I literally don't recognize myself with mood swings and mood changes. 100% for me. I think that was huge. I was just like, why am I a rage monster? Like moments, days before. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm getting my cycle, but like, I never used to be that way. I would get just like a little low backache and then my period would come and then we'd be on our way. But yeah, the mood swings were huge and definitely a big deal for me. Some hair loss, that definitely changing. And again, being confused with post-COVID stuff versus perimenopause stuff. That's definitely something I struggled with. Definitely struggled with like migraine type headaches. Not frequent, but again, hormonally related in my cycle that I never used to deal with as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of overlap with that in terms of hair loss. The other thing for me was brain fog. So I had a really hard time and I thought it was all post-COVID related. And then I realized that it wasn't, that it was flaring during during points in my cycles. So being able to get my brain function back has been literally life-changing for me. I think we all deserve quality of life. And as we talk about some of these symptoms, I want you to think about, like, nobody deserves to struggle through any of these things. And there, we're going to present some solutions, but then there's also ones that you can work with your doctors on. Um, I know that has been something that, Alicia, you've done. You've both worked on the life cycle stuff as well as been working with medical professionals as you go through this journey. What are some of the things that were big for you?
Symptom wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the very beginning, the two, I would say, strangest symptoms I had that were kind of puzzling for me was I was urinating a lot more frequently. And as someone who's young, you think of that as something that's associated with like older women. And so it was a little troubling to me because I hadn't been pregnant in a very long time. So that combined with sweating at night outside of when I had my period, that was very different for me. So those were the two things that should have tipped me off. But I think sometimes these symptoms can feel embarrassing or almost like, you know, we're afraid to talk about them and we shouldn't be because I'm just seeing in the chat how many people are saying, like, oh my gosh, me too. And so I think these conversations are so important because then you don't feel like you're going through this alone.
100%. And I think it's funny. Um, I remember sharing about uh like a body lotion deodorant in my, I was flooded with people who were like, "Oh my gosh, ever since," I jokingly refer to it as second puberty, because I just feel like you're coming into this whole new weird body. It's like, it's, you don't understand it. It's not in control of itself, right? It's this whole thing. And I joked, I was like, now that I'm in second puberty, I need to like double layer up. And everybody was like, I am so interested in this. I have that problem too, right? Like, and so whatever your symptoms might be, no matter what stage of the process you might be in, if you are in a female body, like, you, it is inevitable. We're gonna go through this. And so the more we can know and talk about things with each other, the better that it can be. Um, I think it was interesting. Ember sent me this article. You can see it was just published in May of this year, where they did clinical studies to try to get to the root of what a huge portion of women described as not feeling like myself in perimenopause. And so we just talked about a lot of those symptoms, but of course, if your physical body is changing and doing weird things that you're not used to, and your hormones are causing your mood to have fluctuations, and your brain isn't working how it was, of course, you don't feel like yourself. So we're excited to talk about what are some things you can be aware of, because education is the best way to kind of learn and help yourself, to empower yourself, but also to offer some solutions that have worked for us. So as far as treatments go, you can work with a medical professional for symptom relief. And I would encourage you, if you are trying certain lifestyle aspects and it is not giving you quality of life, do not feel ashamed or afraid to work with a medical professional. I mean, you just heard Ember talk about from her experience, in the PT world, that is something that they specialize in. There's no judgment, there's no shame. Medical professionals want to help you, they want to get to the root cause. So there's a number of things that you can do, from a prescription to physical therapy to different kinds of things that can support your needs. We're today are going to talk about some of the lifestyle things that you can do. And we, on the last slide, and you'll get a copy of these slides, have a source of, I think, 29 scientific references that we're using here. So none of this is just like we made it up, or we, think that it's better. We're looking at significant scientific references to say that the things that you can do at home to help reduce your symptoms, and we'll explain why on some of each of these, is to increase your nutrients as it relates to both protein as well as your micronutrients for nutrient sufficiency. So eating lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, protein, and omega-3s, healthy fats that can help your brain and different parts of your body reduce inflammation. Perform weight-bearing exercises. Ember is definitely going to talk to you about that. Improve sleep hygiene. Alicia's going to talk to you about that. And also find ways to reduce your stress. Please do not like see this one and be like, yeah, okay, and move on. Actually, gratitude practice has been one of the most important things that I have incorporated into my life. And I think as we become more mature, it's easier to think about the things that we have in our life, the things that we might not think about every single day that are the things that we're the most grateful for. And when we sit in that gratitude, it actually reduces our stress and helps manage our symptoms overall. So it's going to improve your health and well-being. And then if you haven't already, quitting smoking, and also we're going to talk about limiting alcohol and caffeine are big ones as they relate to your health. Do you all have anything that you wanted to add to this? No.
Just wanted to say from personal experience. Oh, sorry. I'll go quick. I researched to find a practitioner that I could trust who was knowledgeable in this area. And so I highly recommend, don't just stick with like, you know, the same person that you've been going to when you had all your babies and all the things. Like if that's not their area of specialty, they are not going to know how to help you. And I keep sharing of, if you're local to me, ping me because I have a great person you can go see. But maybe she has friends across the country too. I don't know. I can ask. But that International Menopause Society is a good place to start. I know Dr. Mary Claire Haver on her website has like a kind of a resource for across the country to find a practitioner, because you definitely want to chat with someone who knows about this and specializes in this area, and they do exist. So don't just kind of settle, I guess. That's all I want to share.
Yes. And there are people who have virtual practices. I just had an OBGYN on my podcast, I think 2 weeks ago, who does virtual practice. You know, you can get your lab work done at LabCorp. Obviously, you want to see someone physically who can touch you, but if you don't have someone locally who is a specialist, definitely there are options for you. Thanks for sharing that, Amber. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about in terms of how you can help your symptoms is removing or reducing additional hormone burdens. So when we talk about this, we're talking about endocrine disrupting chemicals, or another way you can think about this is things that mess with your hormones. And you want to remove or reduce them as much as you can so that your body's overall toxic load is lower, so that your body has less to manage and to process. Think about like, you know, if you put a couple of bags on a camel, the camel's like, totally fine, I can go across the whole desert. And then you just keep piling on, and eventually the camel's like laying down, right? You might be laying down right now because you might have too many things on your plate that are stressful, both physical and emotional. And so if we can remove some of the physical stuff, that would be plastic food containers, especially don't heat anything in them. There are chemicals that leach out of that actually really inflame your reproductive sex hormones and affect your endocrine system. And you want to, if you can, not get takeout from places that are using waterproofed food packages, because that is literal PFAS lining that is leaching right into your food. So a lot of places these days are using more of like the cardboard containers or different kinds of things. If you can pay attention to where you're getting what, and if it's hot, and if it's in a PFAS container, just be aware of that. And if you do buy food in those kinds of containers, put them in a plate, put them in a glass container before you heat them up to reduce that. And other things that you can do in your home to reduce the load is change your cleaning products. So the chemicals in cleaning products, what you clean your home in, are really highly linked to endocrine disrupting hormones. There's quite a few in there. That's an easy swap, really. I know you might think, but I need bleach to get my house clean. You don't, I promise. We have easy solutions for you that work. And also removing things with fragrance in it as an added ingredient. So that's kind of, we all are experts in helping you switch to safer skincare and can guide you. Whoever invited you can be your expert in that. But the number one rule that I like to tell people to start with is just look for the word fragrance in the ingredient list. And if you see it there, it's a no-no, because it means that hidden chemicals are in that product and you have absolutely no idea what's in it. And if there's phthalates in that fragrance, which is 99.9% likely, that is a hormone disrupting chemical. Breast Cancer Prevention Partners is a company that does, well, it's a nonprofit that does incredible work in this space. And they've done a lot of studies to show the chemicals in your personal care products, how they're affecting your health. They give lots of tips on their website and all kinds of different things. One of the studies that I love because it gives me hope and positivity is showing how changing these products to remove essentially fragrance, to remove products that have parabens, phthalates, and different kinds of things in them. That's not going to be on the label. You're only going to know that if you're using brands that actually test and have third-party verification. But once you switch to safer products, you can drastically reduce that burden on your body in just 3 days. So that gives me hope that, if this is something you're going through, definitely think about that as a priority for your health, internal and external. Oh, we did a great job of including the text of the green cleaning products here for you. Um, one of us must have had brain fog that day. So let me start by saying that we partner with a company called Shackley. Shackley is the very first company in the world to be carbon neutral certified, and they really prioritize people and the planet. Their skincare is EWG verified, and their home cleaning products have been used. They were like Oprah's favorite things, and are just incredibly well thought of as a effective cleaning solution. If you've heard of Branch Basics before, that formula is actually based on the Shockley formula that's been around a lot longer. And we've all used these products, and I have teenagers. Christina has teenagers. Well, I think we're all boy moms actually, and so we're getting our house clean with these products. We think they'll work for you, and really affordable as well, in terms of what you might think it would cost to get clean, safe cleaning products that are also effective. Really good price point. And then the
And
skincare, as I
and
mentioned, yeah, go for it, Christina.
I was just going to say, and because they're safe, then you teach your kids how to use them and they clean, especially the boys in their bathroom.
Yes. You can come teach my boys how to clean their bathroom, please. And then the EWG verified skincare, there is a variety of options, but as you're going through perimenopause and menopause especially, your skin is going to change and it's going to become more dehydrated and itchy. So you definitely want to be using products that are super hydrating and restoring the elastin in your skin, which is going to reduce as your estrogen reduces. So we're going to talk about some other options that you have for that, but you want to be working both internal and external. And so the youth skincare line is clinically shown to be effective in reducing your skin's age by up to a decade. Over 100% of users saw reduced signs of aging, but 2/3 of those users reduced their skin age by a decade. So these are definitely two options that we would highly recommend on the hormone improvement side. Other ways to regulate your hormones. And I know this is not going to make me very popular because I'm going to talk about limiting alcohol and caffeine. I will say I had a really difficult time getting my body to feel like myself. The mood swings, the hair loss, the brain fog, anxiety, especially nighttime anxiety. We didn't really talk about it. I know Alicia's going to go into details, but I was having a really hard time sleeping, and my head would hit the pillow and I just could not turn my brain off, which was nuts. I've always been a really good sleeper. And so the only thing that worked for me was regulating my cortisol. I had some blood work done and my cortisol was not in a range that was good. Because if your body is in flight or fight mode, which is what high cortisol means, your body can't focus on other things that it needs to do, like prioritize your immune system, or basically all of your organ functions become secondary because it thinks that you're being chased by a lion. And so what you want to do is help your body calm down, and where the intersection of your stress response meets your hormones, when you're able to reduce your cortisol, your whole body is going to come down into a calmer state, including your hormones. And it starts at something called the HPA axis, which is like where all of those things meet. So consider how important it is when you're doing some of the activities, if it really is something that you want or need, or if there's something else that you could do instead that would potentially feel better. So for me, I actually started the hobby of pottery, and it has been amazing for me to have a really like calming activity. I can do something with my hands. In the mornings, I open my blinds and I look out into the sun. The first thing that I do, I don't pick up my phone. I look into the sun and I say that I'm grateful, what 3 things that I'm grateful for that morning before I even look at my screen. I no longer have caffeine at all, but I certainly wouldn't have caffeine before I put food in my body. Um, and so a lot of the things that are mentioned here, we're going to talk more about. But if you're experiencing some of these symptoms on the left, then it's probably related to cortisol as well as actual peri or menopause itself. Ember, were you trying to add something?
You just read my mind that I was, because I wasn't sure I was going to say it. But I think what it would be good to say, like it point out, is oftentimes we think we have to do more and more and more, but sometimes it's figuring out how to do less and
Yes.
to slow ourselves down. Like we have a relatively small backyard, but like when I feel like I'm anxious and overwhelmed, or just feeling like not myself, or just can't get out of that kind of, that I call it a floaty feeling. I just don't feel like I'm grounded in my body. Like I go outside and I walk in my grass, yeah, and I ground myself, but I will literally pull weeds. Luckily, we had plenty of them this summer. So I will like go pull weeds, and Eric will be like, "What are you doing?" And I always am like, "This is just like therapy for me. So just leave me alone. I know it's hot and weird that it's like 90 degrees and I'm pulling weeds in the backyard, but it is just what I need to do right now." And I always feel better. So I don't know. I guess fire your gardener and pull weeds, but finding ways to slow down, and just like, I can't really do anything else but be present pulling the weeds. So it's sort of meditative, I guess, too.
Yeah.
And very satisfying. I was upset last weekend, and I was talking to my neighbor, and while at their house, I was walking the dog and I saw her and I was talking, and then I just leaned over and I started pulling her weeds, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, well, I'm just going to get this while I'm talking to you." She goes, "Please don't do that. You don't have to do that." I'm like, "No, it's so satisfying." So I get what you mean. And it helped me like calm down.
I do
Plus, I
not
was
like pulling weeds,
talking with
but
a friend.
I like to get my hands in the dirt via pottery in a controlled environment. Okay. I want to encourage you to break up with booze. And I know that no one wants to be my best friend. No one wants to hear quit alcohol, especially if you're super stressed, right? If you're already stressed and depressed, that's become a tool for you. And I encourage you to find other tools. And I know that that's easier said than done. So I'm going to remind you that alcohol is a carcinogen. It affects your brain, your heart, your liver, your pancreas, and your immune system. It can be incredibly problematic to going through hormonal changes in terms of activating, increasing your anxiety, and creating pathways for the problems to get bigger. I know, Alicia, you said when you kind of quit alcohol, how you were feeling better. Do you want to speak to that as well?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. As I have gotten older, I just don't tolerate both alcohol and caffeine very well. And so it really took me a long time of like, um, I would say quitting both of those things, and then thinking like I can reintroduce them, and then finding out I really couldn't. And um, I think it's such a slippery slope, especially when it comes to, for me, sleep, because, if you don't sleep well, you're leaning on these habits like caffeine, maybe like a glass of wine at night, when there are things that actually disrupt your sleep even further. So I think we're really lucky that now there are so many non-alcoholic alternatives, that if you still want to like have that ritual or feel like that you can sit with a drink at the end of the night, you can still do that, but maybe just not with the negative effects. And so that's what I've been doing. There's some really great tequila alternatives and gin alternatives and things like that. I'm sure there's many wine and stuff. I just haven't tried those. But so instead of like sitting down with alcohol, I'll make something like that, or like a mocktail or something like that. So I still have that sensation, but just hopefully I sleep better.
Yeah.
I've also found that restaurants have more and more, they have an extensive mocktail section on the menu, and it comes in a nice glass. Like for me, it's the glassware that it comes in
Yeah.
and the garnish. It makes it feel special than just a, glass of water or whatever.
I
So there
love
are
to
more
get just
options.
when I'm at a restaurant, I love to order just sparkling water with lime and I say in a fancy glass. And it's saving me money as well. And then I don't have dehydration, I don't have anxiety, I don't have a headache, like all the things that come with what I used to feel with alcohol. So, if you're having trouble falling asleep, this is really an area where I think it could benefit you. All of us that have reduced alcohol have, and it's even in the chat, right, have seen improvement with reducing alcohol consumptions. And the great news is Shockley actually has something that is a mocktail solution. There's something called Vivix, which comes in a liquid format, so you can make a mocktail. That's what's pictured here on the right. There's also a gummy format and a gel tablet format, just a pill. And it is an anti-inflammatory. I personally have multiple autoimmune disorders, and after COVID, I could not get my inflammation in a normal range. It was high for years. And when I started taking Vivix, gosh, 5 months ago, I guess, I've had my blood work about 3 months later, and it was the first time in years that my inflammation was in a normal range. And the doctor was like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "That has the only thing that changed is I started taking Neology from Shockley. We're going to talk about their multivitamins, um, and taking Vivix. So this is something that is like a double win for you. It has anti-aging effects from the polyphenols. It's made with muscadine grapes from a family farm in Georgia. We upcycle the skin so that it's not wasted, and we put that into our skincare, into Vivix, into things where we want to see really strong anti-inflammatory response on and in the body. So highly recommend. And Shockley has a bunch of mocktail recipes. We have some as a team as well. So ask the person who invited you and we can send some of our team recipes your way. But it makes a great mocktail. You're seeing in the chat, some people are like, Vivix mocktail is everything. It's like, it's so great because it's made with grapes. It really has a wonderful deep flavor to it. And you see here it's mixed with sparkling water and lime. And then the other solution that we're going to talk about these products individually, but this is really the best way to save money. So we're featuring it here, is something called the Ready Set Wellness Bundle, where you personalize your supplements with step one. You can choose something called Meology, which is an assessment I recommend you take. It's free. Ask the person who invited you for a link. It is so helpful. You upload your lifestyle, you upload your blood work, you upload your DNA information if you have it, and it gives you specific recommendations that you can customize. You don't have to go with exactly what it says. Maybe you're already taking a probiotic from somewhere else, or whatever. You can toggle in and out what you want to keep, or you can take something called Vitalizer strips, which is like the pre-planned, what most people need that we know they're deficient in, and Christina's going to talk about that, strip of things. And then you second pick a life shake. Ember's going to talk about life shake and how amazing it is. We're all addicted. And three, you choose a boost, and that boost might be collagen, which we're going to talk about. It might be the Rest and Rewind tea. It might be the Cheer Up and Chill Out gummies that we talked about earlier. You choose a boost, and so you get kind of your options along the way, and then you get it at a really great deal. So that's featured there. And now Alicia's going to talk about sleep, which we all struggle with.
Yes. On that note, I'm just really curious if you are like currently struggling with sleep, or if that's like a thing that's going on for you now. Would you just like pop that in the chat? I'm just really curious to see how many of us are kind of dealing with that before I get started. So to kind of piggyback, yeah, me too, on what Stacy was saying, the things that you probably don't want to hear is what we're going to say. And sleep is such a fickle thing because when you start to have sleep disturbances, you want to lean on those habits. You want to lean on things like caffeine to get you through the day, maybe taking a nap, maybe sitting down with a glass of wine at the end of the night to help you unwind. But these are all things that can disrupt your sleep even further. Um, and as I mentioned, unfortunately, through this cycle of hormonal changes, um, I just find that even a small amount of alcohol will mean that I am up and unable to sleep well and getting up multiple times a night to pee. And I also notice that I have an increase in hot flashes at night if I drink alcohol, or I have like an excessive amount of sugar. So that's kind of another thing to maybe, I don't know, keep track of and see if maybe you're seeing a correlation between those things. I think this is a good time in our lives to really listen to our bodies. Um, so a couple of things that can help when it comes to kind of like setting the mood for getting really good sleep. Getting up at the same time of day is great. Prioritizing sleep, meaning sometimes you might have to pass on things that are happening really late at night. Like I know for me, if I am up past my bedtime, I do not sleep as well. Um, Unfortunately, it's not like when we were in our 20s and early 30s anymore, where you can kind of burn the candle at both ends and then make up for it with like sleeping in the next night. That doesn't really work anymore in this stage, unfortunately. Um, so as you're doing these things, it's helpful to make gradual adjustments. Like don't expect to like push your bedtime back right away or push your wake time up right away. Just make gradual adjustments, kind of like you would with a child when we're going through like the daylight savings time. You know how they say like, 10 minutes like every day for a week. Um, I would say if you're going to take a nap, maybe keep those naps really short, like a half an hour, and limit them to the early afternoon so they don't interrupt your sleep cycle. And then one thing that I do every day that is great for me more than just like helping my sleep, but just helps my overall like well-being and mental health is I get outside and I have daylight exposure every day. And that doesn't necessarily have to be like first thing in the morning. I have a dog that needs a lot of exercise. So we are outside every day, rain, snow, doesn't matter what's happening. And that has been really helpful for me. I also find that like being outside in nature and having that time where there are really no other distractions for me and I'm just focusing on that one thing is super helpful. Another thing that's really helpful is some type of physical activity. And that can be something just as gentle and simple as pulling your neighbor's weeds when you're talking to them. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a really intense workout. Pick something that works for you. It can be a gentle yoga, it could be a workout class, but whatever it works for you, get some physical activity during the day. And then, like Stacy said, as we've been echoing, reducing alcohol, using some type of alternative like a mocktail or some non-alcoholic um, alternative is really great. And then, unfortunately, I have cut out caffeine altogether, and it took me a while. I had like a couple stops and starts before I finally found something that I really enjoyed in the morning still. And maybe we can share this at the end. When we were at Miraval, a bunch of us a couple weeks ago, we had this great warm drink. It's called Golden Milk. And so if you're looking for an alternative, maybe in the mornings to replace that cup of coffee or a cup of tea, maybe we can share that recipe with the notes later because I think there's a lot of ginger and turmeric and anti-inflammatory things that could really be helpful during this time too. And then the last thing is eating dinner late. So eating dinner late, your body is working through that digestion. You're not going to get as restful sleep if you're eating at an earlier time. And then for your nightly routine, I have found that the cooler that I am physically, the less hot flashes I have. So if you can keep your bedroom really cool at night, if you can sleep with a fan, I have a portable fan that I take everywhere with me now. They also have those cooling mattresses now. I don't have one yet, but I think one is called Chili Pad. That's an option for you. Keeping your lights dim, choosing to read a book at the end of the night instead of like scrolling on your phone, which I admit I am super guilty of, but I know that I definitely sleep better when I make the choice to like kind of check out with a book instead of checking out, scrolling on Instagram. And then this might take some trial and error, but just like coming up with a method of relaxation that works for you, whether that's kind of having a wind down routine. If you use one of those white noise machines, sometimes they have like a 30-minute wind down routine that you can select. There's lots of apps that have, I think one's the Calm app. Is that right? There's lots of apps nowadays that you can like do a wind down routine as you're getting ready for bed. But all of these things that kind of like tune your body in and let your body knows that you're like, we're getting ready for bed now. And I think the last thing that I didn't include on here that I've read is that just using your bedroom for things just for sleep and just for sex, not for other things, like don't do work in there, things like that, so that your body knows that when I come into the bedroom, I'm just coming in here for sleep.
I love the idea of sharing those recipes. We also have a Life Shake version of the golden milk recipe that our team can share with you as well. So we'll try to get some of those in the follow-up slides when we send this out to you.
Okay. And so then the last two things that I want to talk about are things that have personally worked for me when it comes to sleep. Full disclosure, the only thing that has really made a huge difference for me, besides these two products here, is going on hormone replacement therapy. That made a huge difference in my quality of sleep, my ability to sleep. But during times when I need that adjusted, these come in really handy. And they kind of do two different things for me. So the Rest and Wine tea is a little packet, like a drink mix. You can use it hot, you can use it cold. It's a mint tea. There you go, Ember has it. And so it contains an ingredient that is converted to serotonin in your body. So it affects your mood and your sleep. And I find that when I drink this at night, I can't even finish a cup before I have to go to bed. It is really that effective. So if you are someone that your issue is the falling asleep part, I really think that this would be a great thing for you to try. So whoever invited you, I'm sure they would send you a sample to try. For me, I'm fine with falling asleep, but I'm a very light sleeper. And if I do get woken up in the middle of the night, it takes me such a long time to fall back asleep. So the Dream Stream is what I use on a nightly basis. And I find that the longer I take that, the better it works for me. And so the ingredients in that really help me stay asleep, get better quality of sleep. And then if I have to wake up to pee in the middle of the night, which I usually do, using this, I can fall asleep. Like my head will hit the pillow in a couple minutes and I'll fall back asleep. And that was not happening for me before. So I love this stuff. I unfortunately let myself run out of it a couple weeks ago, and I can definitely tell when I'm not taking it. So again, if that's something that you think could be helpful for you, please connect with the person that invited you, and I'm sure that they would be happy to talk to you more about that.
I was just typing in the chat something about the tea. I guess I'll wait because this is me. Sorry. All right, guys, totally like changing subject here, but we're going on to what I think is really, I mean, probably I'm a little bit biased as a physical therapist, but a very, very, very important part of your perimenopause and menopause and beyond journey. And that is really thinking about and prioritizing your protein intake, which also helps to support your skeletal muscle. I will give you a couple of different resources throughout this next two slides. Soccer child coming in door queue now. Hi, Abe. Big brother is going to take care of that. But real life, muscle is the organ of longevity. I'll say it again and again and again. If you hear nothing else in the next two slides, just commit that to memory. Like muscle is the organ of longevity. All of us want to be healthy. I've worked in physical therapy for 20 plus years. I've seen the age, the age range of, an 80-year-old who is actively taking care of their grandchildren, and then the 80-year-old who can barely get out of a chair. And we all know where we want to be when we get there. And muscle is how we differentiate how we will live out the end of our life. It makes up, interestingly enough, if you don't know this, it makes up the largest endocrine organ in the human body. And we are talking about hormone regulation, and the endocrine system is your hormone system. So muscle is what makes up, it has a huge impact on your hormones. Just the muscular system in your body has a huge impact. Who you see in front of you here on the screen is Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. If you haven't followed her on Instagram or looked on her website or read her books, highly recommend. She is basically a muscle-centric practitioner. She talks about the importance of muscle, and she has done, similar to like my experience with my clients, my patients, she has done studies with the geriatric population that are really showing that the biggest factor for their long-term health is the amount of skeletal muscle they've been able to maintain throughout their life. So how do we build skeletal muscle? That's what we're going to talk about in the next little bit. Actually, Stace, will you go back for just 2 seconds? Sorry, I cued myself and then changed my mind. Underneath there, what I've written in underlined is that there are 2 ways. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about. You need to feed your muscles nutrients, and you need to activate your muscles. Those are the only 2 ways to stimulate skeletal muscle. And oh, balloons. Yay, balloons. And importantly, I just lost my train of thought. The balloons totally distracted me. All right, brain fog. Squirrel. It's just the brain I'm in. There's something else I wanted to say though here, guys.
Feed it, activate it.
Oh, yes, thank you. Muscle protein synthesis. You cannot stimulate your body the way that you once used to, because estrogen is the prime hormone that helps us to just kind of like willy-nilly go through our life and not have to think about the fact that, you know, we have muscles that we are wanting. Like it helps us build a lean muscle mass. As estrogen and progesterone both decline, we have to do other things. We have to really make sure we're feeding ourselves nutrient dense food, protein specifically, leucine even more specifically, which we'll talk about, but also have to activate the muscle to get that muscle protein synthesis, like that engine running again. So, okay, now we can move on. All right, so this is a bit of I got 1 slide to tell you how to keep your muscles healthy for the rest of your life. So this is kind of jam-packed, but this is your muscle health plan. And again, if you guys want to ask questions, you can follow up at the end in Q&A or reach out to me after the seminar as well. But I have really found in my physical therapy career, I've kind of moved towards helping women in wellness. And it seems like generally women in that 35 to 55 age range is oftentimes who I'm working with in my practice. But there are so many women, just think about even talking about the alcohol that we were talking about moving away from. I just had a client yesterday who was just like, I'm just feeling so overwhelmed. And she's got kids in college and kids in high school that are graduating from their senior year. And she's just trying to like keep it all together. And she's like, I really just kind of started thinking maybe I should just drink more. Maybe that would just help chill me out and help me figure this out. And I'm like, no. Like you're doing all these wonderful things for yourself here. You're building muscle when you come and work with me. And we've talked about like getting her starting with her protein needs, taking Life Shake more on a daily basis, not just every once in a while, like to really like build foundationally her muscular system, which will help balance her hormones. And all of that then leads to her not needing the alcohol, which is kind of just a crutch that covers it all up and doesn't really get to the root cause of the problem. So I know it kind of sounds like a stretch probably for me to say like, build your muscle to help your perimenopause just feel better overall. But like, I really, truly believe it. Like, I truly believe it. You need to build muscles because the muscles are that organ of longevity, but they also are an endocrine. They help our endocrine system so much. So we'll talk about these kind of bullet points. There are only 3. Prioritizing dietary protein. So the other thing is you guys can do something about this. That's what I love. It's a hope, right? It's like a hopeful thing that you can grasp. You have voluntary control over this system of your body. And sometimes we don't always have control, but this one you have control over. First meal, prioritize protein. First meal is so important. There's a lot of studies out there about intermittent fasting and all of that, but I'm going to tell you guys in this season of our life, the people that I work with, anecdotal evidence, I suppose, but myself, if I get 30 to 50 grams of protein within about an hour of me waking up, my day is completely different than if I fast or if I just like kind of skip breakfast and eventually eat a snack when I have time and I don't prioritize my nutrition. So this is Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's research as well, 30 to 50 grams of protein, or you don't stimulate that muscle protein synthesis, again, which has that sequelae of the endocrine system, your metabolic system, and glucose disposal above all else. So it's the science. Like it's the science. The science says it's where we should be. We should be eating a first meal of 30 to 50 grams of protein and really aiming for that 30 to 50 grams of protein each meal. We can talk about protein needs if you guys have questions about like grams per kilogram, but quite honestly, the RDA is the recommended daily value is way low, and probably we need minimally double of what it actually says or more. Second bullet point there, activating skeletal muscle by lifting heavy weights. Starting where you are is important. And that's why the third bullet point is keep it simple and safe. But it's important, I think, to know the science and what's happening in your body with regards to skeletal muscle and why we lose muscle mass each year. I think it's after the age of 20 or 25 or 30, like we're continually losing muscle mass if we're not doing anything about improving or gaining it. So when estrogen and progesterone decrease, we actually need, like I was saying earlier, we need to find another external stressor that signals to our CNS, which is our brain, central nervous system, to stimulate muscular strength adaptations. And also that helps when our muscles are stronger, stronger muscles pulling on bones means stronger bones too. So we're improving both our muscular strength and our bone density when we lift weights. And that can be starting with body weight resistance, like you moving your own body weight through space. It could be starting with light weights, progressing towards heavier weights, but the research is showing out that like lifting heavier weights for lighter reps is really what helps build muscle strength versus lifting lower weights for longer reps really helps our muscular endurance, but it doesn't build muscle. And building muscle is really where we need to be in this season of life and for the rest of our life. So on the left-hand side, you guys can see the benefits of lifting during peri and postmenopause, some of which I've already mentioned. I think the interesting ones I haven't mentioned are your vasomotor symptoms decrease. So we've been talking about hot flashes. We've been talking about some of those other symptoms that actually can be improved if you have more muscle on your body. Your glucose control, that is important as well. Again, it doesn't what you think about necessarily when you think build muscle. You think, you know, I'll be more functional and I'll maybe have stronger bones, but also better blood glucose control. Of course, your joints will be happier. Joints will be healthier if you are working on, you know, moving your body and lifting weight through space. But also there's a lot that they've proven out with cardiovascular as well. It's not on there, but it should be on there. Cardiovascular benefits from lifting weights, but also brain health. And finding that having more muscle means generally your brain is a happier camper as well. Anything in the comments or things I should address right there, Stace? No?
No, but I want to share the comment that Alicia Schultz is a scientist on our team shared a reminder that the RDA is actually the level to avoid disease. It is not the level to thrive or to like put as your marker to try to aim for. So when Ember's talking about you need a lot more protein than the RDA, that's because the RDA is saying like that's your minimum. You know, you want to go above that, especially in this season of life.
Yeah. And the RDA is at like 0.8 grams per kilogram, which I know a lot of us, like me personally, I don't think my brain doesn't think in kilograms, but just doing some basic math, that's basically it comes out to be about like, they recommend about 50 grams of protein in a day, where like, again, more thinking of that. Like I always like to say that 30 to 50 in each of your meals. So you're probably, you do the math there, you're somewhere between 90 and 150 likely. Again, these are recommendations based on my studies and my research, but you guys can do your own as well. But that's kind of that's where we're at. So how do we get there? Because that's a lot of protein, right? And we think, oh my gosh, where am I going to get it? So these are some of the solutions that a lot of us, me first, like I'm a Life Shake for Life person now. Like I cannot go back. I was talking to a friend, one of my friends, and she had been taking the Life Shake kind of like intermittently. I was like, dude, take it daily and just see how you feel. Like I literally want to do a life shake challenge with my people because I'm like, if you take this daily with collagen, yes, Chelsea, I put my collagen in it, and I attribute my energy, which I have all day now, every day. And I never, Alicia too, I never had the energy I have now. And I think it's because I'm giving myself that nutrient sufficiency, not only with the protein, but it also has 24 vitamins and minerals. It has fiber, it has omegas, it has prebiotics, it has leucine, which we talked about a little bit earlier. All 9 essential amino acids are important. And leucine is the one that really helps power our lean muscle mass. So Life Shake is life. It's kind of, if you're a, oh my gosh, brain fog, you guys, the program, I'm a soccer mom and I can't even think of it. You guys help. Somebody say it. Ted Lasso. Yes. So they always talk about soccer is life. Life Shake is life. Soccer is part of my life, I guess, because of my kids, but Life Shake is truly life for me. And I strongly encourage you to try it. There's lots of different ways to add the collagen to it. As you guys can see, I've got my collagen bag. It's almost empty. It's sad. I got to get some more. You can do it like, I do 2 scoops of the collagen in it because our collagen does have all 9 essential amino acids, including leucine. And that gives you an additional, it makes it a complete protein. So it gives it an additional 10 grams of protein. So if I add my Life Shake plus my collagen, I've got 30 grams of protein. You can add nut butters to it, chia seeds, hemp seeds, other things to even increase your protein even more. But it is truly the best way to start my day. So I would love to hear if other people, we've had so many fun recipes that we're sharing too. Pumpkin spice power one that I make lately. And I love the pumpkin in it because it adds fiber. So you get like 9 grams of fiber when you add pumpkin to it. So many fun ways. But this is like, I literally ask all of my clients when they come to work out with me, most of them are coming in the mornings to do strength work with me. And I'm like, have you eaten? Because I'm like, going to make you a Life Shake. If you have not eaten, I am not training you on, without having you have food in your belly. So they're getting the most of them have gotten Life Shake, but they also are getting the point that like, you need to fuel your body well, especially in this season. This is not the season for us to be like, too busy to eat. That is not how our body will function well through this perimenopause season. So protein, highlight or really, really focus on that skeletal muscle health, recognizing that is, most of us are under muscled. It's, it's sometimes our culture is very diet focused and it's focused on, aesthetics, but really focusing on keeping yourself strong, and really focusing on building muscle versus anything else is really what's most important. Certainly not restricting yourself. So,
Amber, could I add something to the Life Shake really quickly? Do you mind? I think one thing that we haven't mentioned so far that can happen in this stage where our hormones are changing because progesterone and estrogen affect gut motility. And I have noticed myself that when I take the Life Shake, it helps me be more regular. And so if any of you are having issues with that, because I know that can be really common, constipation is a thing that can come up in this stage. There are a couple Shaklee things that we can talk about later, but Life Shake is definitely one of them that has helped me be more regular.
100%. Yep.
Okay. Nutrient sufficiency. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about nutrients. Stacy's, Ember's touched on it too. So nutrient sufficiency really is critical so that our bodies can perform all of the critical functions that it needs. So that our immunity system is working, our bone health, it impacts our muscle health, obviously, as Ember has just explained to us. So it is a great idea, to nourish your body before the first thing in the morning. But I just want to give you a little idea. Oh gosh, my AirPods just died. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I'll talk fast. But when you wake up, have at least 1 full glass of water, if not 2, just to hydrate too, because during the night, your body has been working very hard to detoxify, get all of those toxins out. So you want to drink a big glass of water, maybe with lemon too, just to help flush all of that out. And then you're going to make your Life Shake. It's just, again, really telling your body, it's the wake up call your body needs to be like, okay, this is what we're doing today. And you are satisfied. It helps curb cravings for the rest of the day. And then in this great graphic, we are comparing a Starbucks Frappuccino, caramel Frappuccino, to the Shaklee Life Shake and salted caramel. I am not a caramel fan, but I thought my kids would be. So I ordered the salted caramel, and I haven't even shared it with my kids yet. I just keep making them the vanilla one because I love it so much. It's so good. And yes, and I don't know if anyone's mentioned it, but when anybody tries a Life Shake, we will send you, whoever invited you will send you a Life Shake recipe book that our team has created. So it's, again, lots of fun to create. I just real quick on the Life Shake. This is a great way to habit stack. So I have been making a smoothie first thing in the morning for years, and that's been a strong habit of mine, but I've never really found a protein powder that I liked, or that I trusted, more importantly, because I always read about heavy metals and everything. So the Life Shake has been a great addition for me. And I will say I take less afternoon naps than I used to, because it really does help my energy, which a lot of you also mentioned in the comments. Okay. Next. Okay, so nutrients. This, maybe you'll have time to zoom in and look later. I will give you the highlights, but Shackley participated in the landmark study, which was over 20 years. And it was with Berkeley and with Tufts University, and is the largest study on supplements and just their impact on the body. So on the graph on the left, you will see that women aged 19 and over, it shows the percentages of, sorry, the intake is below recommendation, which, as we've learned, the recommendations are maybe the what we need to survive, not thrive. So major deficiencies in vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, calcium and magnesium. And then Shackley used that information to create was the vitalizer? I think that's right. Is that right?
Yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah,
on the next slide, we
And the
have
next one.
the specific
Well,
options of what they have, but they built this based on, those recommendations.
based on, so
Yeah.
in the study, they saw that overall people using Shackley supplements had higher blood nutrient levels, healthier biomarkers of health, and better health outcomes overall.
So one of the questions that I think would be good to answer right now is, because we're talking about Life Shake and it has 24 essential vitamins and minerals, it's part of why we feel so energized when we take it, because we're literally nourishing our mitochondria. Can you also take a multivitamin? And the answer is absolutely yes. It's a meal, right? If you're having one scoop, it's a snack. If you're having two scoops, and especially as Ember was saying, I like to put other fresh fruits and vegetables in mine, or different kinds of things. So that's basically like I'm having a salad, or I'm having dinner with vegetables. Like, it is its own thing, and I still would be nutrient deficient without a multivitamin. So when you think about that, that's why you would need both there. And these numbers, this chart is so concerning to me, how many people are not meeting the bare minimum. Yeah.
Right. Yes, I know. I have a really hard time making a shake without greens, because I think it's such an easy way to get a full serving of greens, which when I add fruit and other things, I can't necessarily taste them. So yes, I always make my smoothies and shakes with real foods as well. And it is a meal versus on the other side, when we saw the Starbucks, it compares all of the metrics there, that a Frappuccino is not food, but a Life Shake is food. It is a meal. Yeah. Okay, so most of us are not getting what we need just from food alone, no matter how well you are eating. We still need to fill the nutrient gaps. And Shackley has used that data from the landmark study to create several amazing multivitamins that there's one for everybody. And I will tell you, when I completed the meology and it gives you your recommendations, again, I had just turned 50, and I was really sad when it said, instead of the women's vitamin, I was getting the gold. And I was like, no. So I retook the meology assessment, but I've come to terms with it. And in other areas of my life, I'm always like, yes, gold, I'll take the gold. Yes, I want gold. So I'm adapting that mentality to my vitamin, and I'm a proud Vitally Gold vitamin taker. So yes, there is a vitamin for everyone. My kids, as well as my parents, take the gummy, the Vitally gummy. They love it. And I have to sometimes count the vitamins that my younger son takes because they are so delicious. There's a strawberry flavor that he will just eat them like they're not vitamins. So we have to have that conversation too. Okay, what else do I need from this? Okay.
I feel
So
like we've gone through this one. Do you want to skip this one and go to the recommendations?
yes, great. Well, I just wanted to say too, like, even with foods for me, like trying different foods and obviously you're eating real food too. We are not living on supplements, although they do help to fill the nutrient gaps. But when you are, I do this exercise maybe once a quarter, but just if you're like me, you get in a rut of buying the same things at the grocery store. So sometimes I do this, like I just track in a week, like how many different fruits and vegetables I eat, which is great to do when the seasons change too, and just try to incorporate different things into my meals, because every food has different vitamins that are beneficial, different minerals, and so we need a variety, and we need lots of fiber, which with our diet strategies, we want more fiber-rich foods, more high protein, more omega-3s, those healthy fats, vitamin D and magnesium, and obviously we have talked about less alcohol, less processed foods, less sugar, less caffeine. And so our solutions, the amazing Vitally multivitamins, and you can get one, there's a men's, there's a women's, there's like my dad is on a blood thinner, so he doesn't take the one with vitamin K, so there's that option also. And then the Meology is, again, Stacy touched on this, the assessment that you can take. It's free, and it just gives you it. I like that it takes into account so many different lifestyle factors as well. So when I completed it, I was already taking supplements that my functional doctor had suggested. And I was really pleased that when I took the assessment, the same things were suggested. So I felt like it was really accurate. And I always ask, when I have people that take it, I'm like, what do you think? Does it align with what, your doctor is suggesting? Or, was there anything that was different that you were surprised by? So anyway, it's a great assessment. You can also add any DNA data from like 23andMe, and you can also upload blood work, and it's editable. So, you have blood work, you can, or if your health goals change, you can always retake the assessment. And again, I love the toggle where you can choose what you want to include and not. So the Meology is amazing. And again, so there's the Ready Set Wellness includes a multivitamin. So you can either choose the Vitalizer or you can choose the Meology route. And then you get 2 life shakes and one of the boosts, which Stacey was already talking about. So that is really a fantastic deal to try all the things. And I think with the Vitalizer also, well, with all of these, with Shaklee, they have an amazing return policy, but Vitalizer, it says try it for 30 days. And if you don't feel better, then we'll give you your money back. So I think that's a very strong claim.
Okay, Ember, you're going to wrap us up here. Oh, you're muted.
Here I am, yeah, talking again. Let's wrap up with just looking at some of the testimonials, you guys. I mean, you guys, I don't need to read to you, but we're talking about improved joint pain, because of taking collagen 9. We're talking about, I know collagen, we literally all talk about our nails. We have like nails growing like we've never had before by taking the collagen 9 product. The Rest and Rewind tea, we call it the magic tea for a reason, because so many people were struggling with getting to sleep and staying asleep, and this tea is helping so many of us as well. So these are just kind of a few, and Life Shake is life, you guys. Like if you need energy, if you've been low energy, I'm going to be that guy. But like, if you have been low on energy and you need a solution, that I cannot say it enough. Life Shake, more energy. Vivix is the other part. Like I say, I always tell people Life Shake, collagen, and Vivix are like my, like, gives me life nutrition. Like those three, I will never not those three: Life Shake, Vivix, and collagen. But yes, we talk about our soft elbows. We've been joking this, like we have like a running, Stacey had Diane reached out to her and was like, are your elbows softer since starting your Shackley products? And it was kind of funny because when Stacey brought that to us when we were in a meeting, I was like, I've not felt my elbows in 4 months. Okay. Wow, they are. So skin health, you guys, when you give your body what it needs, right? When you're really truly nourishing your body, everything is going, your joints are going to feel better, your skin's going to look better. Yeah, rosacea is clearing with some of the serum products that we have. The skin line is amazing as well, but we got a lot of goodness. This is all of what our favorites are. So Stacey, I'll let you go.
Okay, so I'm going to just remind you of the things that we've talked about and some of our favorites. You've heard us talk about Vivix. My story about my reduced inflammation is directly attributed to the clinical studies proving that with Vivix. And I recommend the Ready Set Wellness Bundle, which is the either Vitalizer or Meology, whichever you choose option. Then you choose your Life Shake, and then you choose your booster. I'm a partial to collagen or to Rest and Rewind tea from those boosters. Ember?
I'll unmute first. That'll help. Energize is something we haven't talked about yet, but this is used, and I use this in so many ways. I told you guys I work out with women and helping them with strength training. So I've been encouraging people to use this when they work out on their own. I use this on the regular when I'm about to go into a workout, whether it be strength training workout or if it's a cardiovascular workout. This tastes like lemonade. It tastes like natural, like it tastes like homemade lemonade. So it's delicious. Even if you're not working out, but you're just needing a little bit of, like, maybe a little bit of boost in your energy in the afternoon, certainly a go-to for that as well. But love that product. And then what you're seeing below there is in the little bubble is Life Shake. Plus, because it's me and I'm not going to stop talking about Life Shake. Plus, the other thing I don't stop talking about ever is the Triple Defense Boost, which is the tiny little berry packet that you see there. It is a product that I also, it's an immune support product that helps your immune system from on offense and defense, if you will. It really kind of supports and kind of makes it's something we take at our house if I'm feeling something coming on, or if I'm just like wanting to make sure I'm not getting sick as I'm heading out on a trip, or if the boys have something. It is, again, something that we will keep in stock at our house all the time. The other part of that advanced immunity bundle is Nutriferon, which is a product that's new to me, but I love the science behind it. One of my sons was diagnosed with celiac and recently, and so his immune system has just been super low because he's still working on building up his digestive system again. And so he and I have both been taking the Nutriferon. And a friend of mine who works alongside me, her chiropractor, she said it was interesting. She shared about Shackley with the chiropractor, and the chiropractor is like, "Oh, you take Nutriferon, right?" Because he recommends it to all of his clients throughout the season that we're currently in to keep well. And they swear by, their family all takes it and swears by the Nutriferon and keeping themselves from getting all the ick that's passed around. And with 3 boys in 3 different schools, in my home office, like having people in and out of my home, we definitely need all the immune support we can get. So I love that bundle because it has my favorites, and also a lot of immune boosting support. So yeah.
Awesome.
Christina?
Ember, the Nutriferon was one of my recommendations in Meology, which is one of my favorite products with my little packet. And that is one of the reasons I love it, which I forgot to tell you. But it's because I travel a lot and the packets are so easy and convenient. I just count how many days I'm going to be gone and just rip it off and stick it in my bag. And then it's just so easy to take on the go if you need to, or when you're traveling, and it's all measured out. So anyway, I just did the toggle since we're getting into the yucky seasons. Sorry, the season of yuckies, to add Nutriferin. So I just started this month, so I'm excited to see how it works. And then my other favorite is the collagen. And that is the product that I had tried. I had never taken a collagen, but I tried it when I came to Shackley. And all of a sudden in a couple of weeks, I'm like, wow, I really noticed like my joints are feeling better. That is really weird. So I was like trying to figure out what was different, and my exercise wasn't really different, and my sitting in the car, the amount of time was not different. But the one thing that I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the collagen. So now I'm sold and I will never not have collagen.
And Alicia.
So we already talked about the dream stream, so I won't do that again. But below that, you can see little capsules. That's our Flora and Flow. And I was recently diagnosed with Crohn's earlier this year. And so if you don't know what that is, it's just an inflammatory disease of the bowel. And so I take the Flora and Flow for two reasons. Number one, we talked about earlier how one symptom of perimenopause can be more frequent urination. And I find that this helps me not have that feeling of urgency so much. And also, in addition to the more frequent urination, I was starting to feel, I think we all know how we feel like right before you feel like I might be getting a bladder infection or a UTI. And so taking that on a daily basis has really helped that discomfort, just that like in general irritation go away for me. And also, I have noticed when I do have flare ups of my Crohn's disease, that just that entire area just really becomes uncomfortable and irritated. And that really helps. And I think it's because there's some clinically proven strains of probiotics in there. So it not only supports like a healthy vaginal microbiome, but I think it just, and it also has the D-mannose. And if you're familiar with ever having a UTI, that helps your body flush out bacteria more easily. So you don't necessarily have, so you're not, what's the word I'm looking for? So you're not predisposed to getting bladder. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Um, as far as the probiotics, another thing I take on a daily basis for my Crohn's and just for my gut health is one we haven't touched on yet. And that's also in a packet. It's called Good Gut and Go. And so that has a bunch of probiotics and prebiotics in it. And one thing I will say, if you do use Good Gut and Go, just know that you might want to take it maybe not before you're going somewhere, because you probably will have to go after you take it. It really does what it says. So those are two of my favorites.
I think it's interesting how many things we all love, and none of us even knew about Shackley 6 months ago, and now we're like life shake for life. I cannot live without these certain things, and we want to help you fall in love with products that are going to help you feel better and live longer, younger lives. That's kind of Shackley's go-to mission. And there are a lot of ways to help you save. We want to help you maximize your spend as much as possible. So the one thing that we will say is definitely ask the person who invited you for links and ways to save. Going to run through some of these quickly. I know it's been a while if you've been with us since the beginning. We're almost to door prizes though, so hang in there just a couple more minutes. So free membership all this month if you're watching this in the month of October. Free membership, which basically means like Amazon Prime, or if you shop Beauty Counter before, Bandit Beauty, it's like the VIP perks program. And it's a $19.95 value, but it's free this month. And with that, it means that you get 15% off site-wide. So great deal. In addition, if you spend $150 on any order, it's free shipping, but on your first order, you get $25 credit back. So it's really like spending $125 and getting 15% off. It's a really great deal. You can also sign up for what are called loyalty rewards, which is really like subscribe and save if we're going with that Amazon reference. It means that you won't run out because you'll put your Meology or, your collagen or your Life Shake on subscription. And it means that in return, you'll get an extra 5 to 10% off those products, just like at Amazon. You'll also, 5 to 15% back, product credit back, to apply towards free products in the future. And you'll also be eligible for things like extra sales and perks, bonus gifts, double credit days, different kinds of things like that when you're a loyalty member. This month, you get in October, an additional 15% off those mind, mood, and stress products like the Cheer Up and Chill Out that we talked about. So definitely add this to your cart and add code Calm15. We love those. And if you're feeling a little moody in this perimenopause stage, definitely will help you out. Alicia's favorite Flora and Flow happens to be BOGO this month for as long as products last. So probably through the end of the month, you can buy one, get one free. I'll tell you, I have a teenager that I have on this product who was prone to urinary tract infections and urgency because of a medication that they're on. And the Flora and Flow has solved that for them. And they have been struggling for a really long time. So definitely a good product for all ages, but for perimenopause as well. And then you can refer if you're already a member, or when you get membership, you can share that out with your friends. If you're talking to your friend about, oh my gosh, this tea that I got from my friend is amazing. You need this tea. Here, let me give you $10 off to get to try this tea. You will also get $10 off yourself. And the person who invited you can help you grab that link. If you choose to get either Meology or bundles, you'll also get like an extra 5 to 10% off, which is why we pointed to some of those bundles for you. Like the Ready Set Wellness is the best deal. I think it's almost 25% off. So we want to help you save depending on what you're interested in. Let the person who invited you know and say, here's what my wish list is. Help me figure out the best way to save and get the most for my money. And we're like mathematicians, Einsteining behind the scenes, doing all the things to figure it out and making sure that you get as much as you can for what it is you want in your budget. That said, you made it through the end, and we're so happy that you were here, and we want to thank you for that. We are going to give you one for you and one for community for 2 people who are still here who had great participation in the chat. Ember, do you want to maybe pick, did anybody have any particular comments that you want to choose? And then in addition, while you're choosing those comments, we're also going to give one for the community and another for the community. So 2 community gifts through Shackley's charitable organization, Shackley Cares. They're currently partnered with Baby to Baby and Feed the Hungry for hurricane relief and providing nutrition products for those in need. And so I will be donating on 2 people's behalf, Shackley Cares meal bars for the community. Okay, do we get 2 comments?
You ready? How about Deanna Warnock?
Woo, woo, Deanna!
Woo! Oh, my dog just, we were going woo woo. My dog just barked like back. Barked the woo woo. It was good. And then how about, trying to find, I had a name and I lost the name.
While you're looking for that, Deanna,
Yep.
and whoever's called next, email, it's in the bottom left-hand corner, stacy@realeverything.com with your info so that I can coordinate getting these gifts to you.
Sandy Garus, Sandy with an I.
Sandy's on our team. She doesn't count.
Oh, she doesn't count. She was very, very, very
She's amazing.
supportive tonight. All right.
She's in our community.
Well, she's a smart girl. That's good. How about there was a Heather Flanders?
Heather, are you here?
I'm here, Heather Flanders.
Yay. I think also Sandy Lavoie is not on the team and is still here as well. So Heather and Sandy, if you're both here and you're hearing this, feel free to email me for some door prizes.
Fun.
Kelly's raising her hair. She's like, I'm here.
Heather will do. There we go.
Awesome.
And Sandy. Cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording and then we are here for Q&A if anybody would like to come off of mute or